Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Belle again. So today, we're going to talk about Vance's weird Ukraine statements falling flat. Vance spoke about Ukraine and Russia on Meet the Press and left the entire country scratching its head. Even those who have been generally supportive of Trump's attempt were left wide-eyed by some of the statements. Vance said, quote, "I think the Russians have made significant concessions to President Trump for the first time in 3.5 years of this conflict. They've actually been willing to be flexible on some of their core demands. They've talked about what would be necessary to end the war. Of course, they haven't been completely there yet, or the war would be over. But we're engaging in this diplomatic process in good faith." When he was questioned on the idea, he went on to explain what he viewed as concessions. Quote, "Well, I didn't say they conceded on everything, but what they have conceded is the recognition that Ukraine will have territorial integrity after the war. They've recognized that they're not going to be able to install a puppet regime in Kyiv. That was, of course, a major demand at the beginning. And importantly, they've acknowledged that there is going to be some security guarantee to the territorial integrity of Ukraine." On behalf of the entire community of observers, what? They've agreed to recognize Ukraine as a country with territorial integrity. That's not a concession, and frankly, Russia agreeing to that doesn't matter, because they're being rewarded for violating that recognition. They won't install a puppet regime. They don't have control of the country. They can't install a puppet regime. That's not a concession. Ukraine has conceded to not install a puppet regime in Mexico. Is that a concession? And another concession is apparently giving permission to the U.S. to engage in its own foreign policy and give security guarantees. Hearing these things referred to as concessions was simply shocking to most foreign policy experts. Russia has never had veto power over U.S. foreign policy before, and it never pretended to. When asked about Russia directly attacking U.S. interests in Ukraine by reportedly striking a U.S.-owned factory, twice, Vance said, quote, "I don't like it, but this is a war, and this is why we want to stop the killing. I was unaware that Russia was at war with the U.S. Trump has spent years telling us that Russia wouldn't have attacked Ukraine if he was president. Russia is directly attacking U.S. interests, and apparently the response seems to be, well, stuff like this happens. Russia struck U.S. interests, and there was no response, not even increased sanctions. Somebody at least get Schumer to send them a strongly worded letter. European leaders have got to be reevaluating their relationship with the United States, even more than they were before. If the U.S. won't respond when their own interests are directly hit, will it actually live up to Article 5? The last week's events concerning Russia and Ukraine haven't really made headlines, but the events will influence the decision-making of our traditional allies for years and years to come. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.